Welcome to Inside Humboldt Basketball with Head Coach Ronald Abernathy, and you got your season off to a great start. And now here we are, week 2. We get to recap a little bit. Started this last week with Covington, but before we dive in to games particular, how do you feel going into December? It's a short November schedule. But
Right. As I said and have stated before,
yeah,
losing that week of practice was real big. Mm-hmm. So kind of right now, we're trying to work hard. We're trying to get some rhythm. We kind of work hard. Luckily, last week we were able to go 3-0 with the competition that we played. But we're still trying to find our feet. We're still trying to get some rhythm.
Sure.
Because the missing week of practice was big.
Yeah.
It was real big. But
yeah.
It's going to take some ups and downs and some in and outs before we can kind of get on track.
Sure. Well, we start with Tuesday night in week 2. You picked up a strong home win against Covington. What stood out to you the most in that game? I don't know that it was really a surprise at all that it was a kind of a bigger scoring differential in the end of that game,
right?
Than what we normally see.
Well, I did think that they had good athletes. They were long. They were good athletes. Good team.
Okay.
Good team. I just thought we played particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, defensively, we did a good job. Defensively, and then we ran our offense and were able to score.
Yeah.
And able to actually able to hit that 3-point.
Let's go into that a little bit because it seemed like your guys were playing, I don't know if you say loose. I know they were playing with a lot of confidence. I mean, you could tell once shots start falling, that does a whole lot for your confidence.
It does.
What did you like most about that execution? Was it the 3-ball or what was it that really stood out the most?
Well, actually, the game has changed because, and then we have changed our philosophy because, we've gone from being a power team where we basically, relied on the inside to being one that shoots 3-point shots. But we do have some kids and players who can do that. We have Darian Taylor, we have Jakevius Graves, we have Booker, and even T.Y. who can shoot it really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's an advantage for us. And of course, now we kind of rely a little bit more on the 3-pointer than we had in the past. But I like, our offense. Our setup is new.
Yeah.
This is the second year we're doing this, but I like what we're doing.
And I know you're big on us doing what we do well. So this next question may not really make a lot of sense in your program. Some teams, they're going to look at the other team and go, okay, I may need to make some lineup changes due to size or whatever. Do you feel like maybe your lineup just started meshing better together against Covington? Or
I thought we did. I guess we'd already played 2 games, so that was
Yeah.
the third game of the 2.
Yeah.
And of course, we had kind of developed a little of consistency, a little rhythm, and by that third game, our rhythm and consistency was working pretty good.
Obviously, people, if they weren't at the game, they might ask, what did you do defensively to hold Covington to just 43 points? That's pretty low in a boys' basketball game,
It is. Well, defense. Mm-hmm. Defense, we could full court press a little bit and run and jump a little bit, and our defense is again a key. We played really, really good defense.
Let's reminisce a little bit about your hour-and-a-half drive to Memphis. We had to take on Briarcrest and Christian Brothers. We'll go one game at a time. The Jerry Peters Turkey Shootout, man, it's a premier tournament.
It is.
In this area.
It is.
And maybe how did you get the invite to that tournament? I know we've been there a few times.
Well, this is actually our 3rd year.
Yeah.
So we were invited, and prior to us actually going, we'd been getting invited quite a bit, but because we didn't know a lot about the tournament, when the time the tournament comes around, we'd already scheduled what we scheduled. But then about 2 years ago, we decided to intentionally, want to be able to go to that tournament, and we were able to do that. And I believe this is our 3rd year.
So Friday night, took on Briarcrest. Obviously, it's a tough matchup. We were talking off air. They've got quite a few D1 commits. They're tall, they're long, they're athletic on top of that. Because, just being tall, big, long, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But when you add the athleticism, man, with that size.
And a great program. They have a great basketball program. They do have 3 Division I players. And, of course, then the biggest kid who's 6'8", and he's very good.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, a couple of times when we were coming down and and their guard had the ball, and he was running the lane, you knew what was going to happen, and there wasn't nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had nobody to get it with him, and then a couple of times when we were rebounding, we jumped to our highest height, and all he did was kind of tiptoe. But we did a good job of running our offense, not being intimidated.
Yeah.
We did a real good job of that.
So, you know, some coaches feel like there's no moral victories. You know, and I don't know, we've never, I don't think, talk about that. I know there's always, you say we need to pull lessons out of games like this. So what did you see that you could take away, or you want your kids to take away from a program game like that?
Well, the biggest thing is, like I said, you know, no matter who the competition is, do what you're supposed to do. Okay. Don't allow another team to make you play the way they want you to play. You want to play the way you want to play.
Yeah.
And we did a good job of running our offense, settling it down. Of course, you know, a team like that speeds us up a little bit more than we're used to. So a lot of the shots didn't fall early.
Okay.
And that's a big key. Like you said, contrary to the Covington game, when the shots are falling, you're a little cocky, you're real confident. That particular game, the shots were not falling. And then we didn't take such good shots at the time.
Yeah.
Especially the first quarter, second quarter. Second half came out and did a lot better job running our offense, being in the set, taking the good shots.
We're scooting next to you in the coach's seat. How do you coach a team? Obviously, you're playing a team, I don't know necessarily say better than you, but, I mean, they are at a different level.
Right.
How do you get your guys to play to that level and come away with an upset, you know?
Well, you know, you hope that your players would want that kind of competition, which our kids do.
Sure.
We've never backed down or never shied away from playing anyone. And of course, I think we're at the point where in our program, we look forward to playing teams that are tougher, bigger, and you know, that's been an MO for us. So that's not a real big factor for us. You know, our kids are really competitive and really, really look forward to playing teams that are better.
Sure. Is this a game that you pull the film out and you show them, you know, here's what you do in this moment? Or is it kind of, that would maybe pushing the line to get them discouraged?
Yeah,
you know?
Not really. It's early.
Okay.
It's early. And, of course, you know, it's just a time that you want to play games like that. Again, it's by design. We
Yes,
want
sir.
to play games like that. So there's not so much emphasis on this game per se.
Yeah.
Other than taking away the fact that against really good competition, we can run our offense, we can do what we need to do, which is what we did.
Sure. 83-36 loss to Briarcrest on Friday night. Then we moved to Saturday. Saturday, you turned around, you faced another powerhouse in Christian Brothers. What did you see from your guys in that matchup?
Again, the only negative about the game against Christian Brothers is we started late. We didn't play very well the first quarter, second quarter, but came out at halftime and really showed up the defense, really got back in the game, and was very competitive from that point on.
What do you attribute the late start to? Obviously, not trying to make excuses, but there's reasons for those late starts. Is it the bus drive?
There are. You know, after an hour and a half bus ride, and then you get off the bus, you played. It was like we got off the bus, you practice, warm up for 15 minutes, then you play. It's a little different, different. And then it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Everything's topsy-turvy. The food is impact, what they eat impacts it. Again, you know, when we get into the district and the region, we kind of control all that.
Yeah.
It was tough to control that during Thanksgiving weekend.
Sure.
And food and what they eat and how they eat and what's on their mind, that's a different ball game.
Christian Brothers, the score tightened a little bit compared to the Briarcrest game. What improvements did you see from Friday to Saturday?
Well, we hit some shots.
Okay.
We were able to hit some shots. And, of course, we played great defense. Defense. Once we got started and once we got going, we did a great job of playing defense and staying in the game.
It seemed like Briarcrest did a good job, or maybe, again, it was just the shots that were falling. I'm looking at the score sheets. You know, Darien didn't have as many points against Briarcrest as they did Christian Brothers. Right. Was it just shots falling for him? That was the main difference, or better shot selection? Or?
No, we just wasn't hitting shots.
Okay.
And I thought he passed the ball a lot.
Okay.
Doing Briarcrest in a team mindset.
Sure.
And of course, some of his teammates didn't make some of them shots that they should have made.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's not a selfish player.
Sure.
He's very unselfish.
Well, that's what he had to do coming from where he did to Humboldt, where he was the guy.
Right.
He's one of the guys here.
Right.
You
And
know.
that's the way he played. And so, but again, we were really pleased with we could have won the game against Christian Brothers, and we just didn't.
So what's the big thing you're telling your team that you learn about yourself when you go to back-to-back challenges like that?
Well, the biggest thing is we're trying to get ready for a district season and a regional season.
Yeah.
A run to the state championship in single A. And we just encourage them to take away the positives. And of course, we will look at the video and take some things from it.
Sure.
And then move forward.
So what's the biggest improvements in the next 2 to 3 games that you would say, hey, Memphis was worth the trip?
How we play.
Okay.
No other gauge than how we play.
Sure.
So we won't know that until we throw it up again.
Yeah. How have your leaders, vocal or by example, stepped up so far, this season? You happy with that?
Yeah, we only got 2. We only got 2 seniors, and that's Darian and Jakevius Graves.
Yeah.
We're really young.
Yeah.
Very
young. Well, we look ahead. You don't have to travel as far for this next tournament. Right. We go to Jackson, Dynamix Hoop-Fest at Trinity Christian Academy. 2 tournament games this weekend. What makes this event special for your program?
Again, the highly competitive nature of having to play.
Yeah.
Of having to be on point, of having to do what you need to do and do it right.
Sure.
With intensity to compete.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the big thing.
Now, normally, folks, we would know who we're playing 100% by now, but there's been some teams drop out. There's been some changes. And we know we're going to play TCA at some point, but we don't know who else.
I do believe we'll play TCA on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that is set.
All right, and then we don't know who we're playing on Saturday, but your Keys, coming out competing at a high level this weekend. Last year we learned a valuable lesson that I really feel like we took to the state tournament with us. Do you say anything about that to these kids, or they just remember that?
Oh, they remember now.
Sure,
they don't forget. They remember what it's like. And again, there was some conversation about us playing Jackson County, and our coaching staff, we decided that's not what we want to do now.
Sure.
Because Jackson County is very good.
Sure.
And I do believe that we will meet them in Murfreesboro.
Sure.
And right now we feel we have the mental edge.
Yeah.
Because we know they beat the stuffings out of us, okay? And we know that we just can't go into the game. I prefer to go in the game knowing we got to work at it,
right,
than to go in the game thinking we got it done.
Yeah.
Okay? So right now we have that advantage. So the schedule was rearranged so we wouldn't have to play Jackson County. And that's how we got TCA and whoever the opponent will be on Saturday.
Refresh my memory. I know we played Jackson County. Who else did we play last year? Do you remember that?
Rockford.
Yeah.
Rockville.
Was it them that we had the coaching? It seemed like there was somebody kin to one of our coaches.
Adrian's brother.
Okay, so he's at Rockville, right?
Coach Ingram's brother's at Rockville.
Yeah. I didn't think it was Jackson County, but I couldn't remember. I knew there was a family tie there some way, and that made it really interesting.
The coach at Rockville.
Sure. So now we look, what would a strong showing at the Hoop Fest do for these kids?
Great, good, because again, we're moving forward. Mm-hmm. We've kind of been behind with the loss of the first week, but moving forward would be great. It would be positive.
Was there a player that stood out this last week, the most with their growth and consistency, even from the week before?
Oh, Darian Taylor, and Jakevius Graves.
Yeah.
Darian Taylor and Jakevius Graves have done a great job.
Can you talk about maybe the bond this group is forming? Because we talk about the great teams we've had, and the Jared Walker teams, and then the team that your son was even able to be on, and there was a bond with those guys. You could see it in practice. I had heard even about some bus rides and locker room energies and that kind of stuff. How do you feel like that's forming for this team?
Well, I have to really be honest. It is forming.
Okay.
Because we only have the 2 seniors.
Sure.
Okay, and we have a bunch of young kids coming from junior high who have not, and we see it right now, have not learned the importance and the urgency of how tough it is to play high school basketball as opposed to middle school. Okay. Most of these players in middle school were pretty darn good.
Sure. Oh, yeah, dominated.
Yeah. But now all of a sudden, you ain't the good one. You ain't the best one. You got to work your way. So we're seeing that right now.
Yeah.
Formulating that, the bond. And of course, we say to our seniors all the time, which is Katie Taylor and Jakevius Graves, you're going to have to say something to those freshmen. Let them know the importance
right.
of where they are now. This is not junior high ball. And that's evident by the way they play sometimes.
Sure.
They throw a little soft pass. You can't throw a little soft pass because in high school somebody's going to get that.
Sure.
You can't not box out strong because they're going to take it away from you.
Yeah.
So right now it's highly evident. Highly evident.
Yeah.
It is forming. It is coming, but it's going to take some work.
What do you find the most rewarding about coaching this team? Every team's different. So what would you say with this one?
Newness.
Okay.
Newness. Having to work at it, and then seeing the progress take place right in front of your eyes. You know, seeing the bonding, and of course, I think as coaches, sometimes we get spoiled, and we've been spoiled years here by having teams that parlay with each other. They were juniors and they turned seniors, and this is a little different because we got all these young kids.
Yeah.
So as coaches, we got to work a little harder.
Sure.
At making sure they bond and make sure they get the point.
Yeah.
That this is high school basketball and this is not junior high.
We always like to end on a positive note, so we're going to go a little lighter here, Coach. You talk a lot about where you came from. Why don't you give us a little insight, maybe some stories or some principles that you were taught maybe by your parents into the coach, the man that you are today? Obviously, none of us would be here today without the influence of our parents.
Right. Well, basically, I was born and raised in the city, project kid. My dad passed away when I was 11 years old. Oh. So I was the oldest of 3 boys. And my mom was very young when my dad passed away. So I had to grow up fast. I mean, to the point whereas the best story I always tell is I remember my mom was sick. And then you kind of had to pay the bills in person. You kind of had to walk in and pay the electric bill. You didn't mail them, you took them, and then they were not very big on mailing, so you take them. So I do remember my mom. Seth, I was 11 years old.
Wow.
And I remember my mom, a bill had to be paid, or something had to be picked up from the post office. But I had to get on the bus and ride from the West End.
Oh, wow.
To Midtown.
Oh, wow.
Go to the post office, get the stamps.
11 years old. Wow.
And actually had to cross the street both times, going and coming. And I remember my mom giving me the instructions on how to do that.
Yeah.
And I remember I was able to, make a long story short, able to get on that bus, pay the money, take that road, take that long trip to Midtown, get off, go into the post office, get the stamps, put the stamp on the envelope, and mail the bill.
Yeah.
I was able to do that, and I get back home. My mom was like, "You really did that." But like I said, I was the oldest of 3 boys, and we had to, not the basic. And I laugh at my coaches, and sometimes they say, "No, coach is real energetic. He's a fighter." But I grew up having to fight.
Sure.
Because the biggest thing was the simple fact that both of my brothers were younger.
Yeah.
So when you live in the projects, you have to fight for your younger ones. And I ended up having to do that most of the time, fight for my younger brothers.
Wow.
And so I ended up being a fighter early on in my career.
Yeah.
And of course, I fought much more then than I do now.
Sure. Do you think that's helped you coach in Humboldt? Because, and some of it's the society we're in. It's not just Humboldt. I'm finding it's everywhere. But a lot of these young men, I remember a certain young man that I know he was on the football team. I don't know if he ever played basketball or not, but his dad passed away. I think it was either his junior or senior year, and he had to get an extra job. Right. But yet he still played sports, and he relied on those coaches really to show him how to be a man. Right. And, we've got a lot of that in our city. Do you think that's helped you be able to connect with those young men?
Oh, yeah, it has, because, when they look at me now, they say, "Coach, you dress well,
Sure.
You got a nice car, you seem to have money and everything," and they don't know where I came from. They only see the finished product of today. And
Sure.
many years, you're talking about my 54th year of either teaching or coaching.
Wow.
In education.
Yeah.
And the many years of experience and being able to come here, and I'll tell you the story, we laugh about this all the time. I don't necessarily think that I was going to be in Humboldt my entire career.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, during these 12 years, God said to me that this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And at one time I was like, okay, Lord, why am I stuck in Humboldt?
Sure.
And after a lot of thought and a lot of prayer and a little talking, it was clear to me that you're where you need to be at this time.
Yeah.
And you're where I want you to be at this time. And so you need to come. And I came to grips with that.
Sure.
And then I started looking around, probably about 8 years ago, looking around and seeing the kids and seeing my players and trying to be a role model for them, trying to be a Christ-like role model for them. And I get the picture.
Sure.
Upon this year, when we talked about this being my last year, I kind of finally felt that God said, okay, now you can go.
Sure.
I may have something else for you to do.
Yeah. So and it's amazing, a lot of times when we're helping shape other people, they're also shaping us. Right. They're helping us a lot.
They are, and like I said, now I kind of feel like God is saying, okay, got something else for you, so enjoy this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One more question kind of related to your parents. If you thought they could sit courtside right now, what do you think they'd be the most proud of when they look at you right now?
My mom,
yeah.
Again, through my career, which has taken me all over the country, a lot of the times I would send for her and let her come to the different places that I was at, and her and I would spend that time together.
That's awesome.
And she often would say to me, I thank God for you, because if it had not been for you, I wouldn't be able to visit the Bahamas. I wouldn't be able to visit the Cayman Islands. I wouldn't be able to go to Los Angeles. She always said I don't know what I did for God to give me a son like you.
Yeah.
But I want to just say thank you, because you've opened up a world for me.
Wow.
That I would have never, ever dreamed of. And, I have to tell you the fact that my mom, she wasn't big on athletics. She wasn't big on me sweating, and wasn't big on it, because I grew up in a Christian family.
Sure.
A church family.
Sure.
I am a church boy.
Sure.
Okay. And she wasn't very big on me sweating and going out until she realized that I could go to college free and be a basketball player.
Yeah.
That's when she really finally realized that. But my mom would be real proud, and she already said those things to me before she passed away.
Sure. Wow. Well, any final thoughts or encouragement you want to leave Viking fans as we head into one more good week of basketball?
Yes, sir. Just looking forward to it. Y'all come out, cheer us on. Be patient with the progress.
That's right.
And all I'm going to say is go Vikings.
All right. That's Coach Abernathy. This has been Inside Humboldt Basketball with Head Coach Ronald Abernathy. Each Monday, we drop a new episode, and hopefully you're enjoying the new, kind of the lighthearted moments at the end, letting you get to know the man in his final year here in Humboldt. And, Coach, we've done it again. It's close to 25 minutes.
Yes,
so
sir.
We're hitting that. That's kind of that sweet spot with podcasts right now.
And by the way, I want to say something to you. Hats off to you.
Yes, sir.
Because this podcast has gone to Maryland.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
That's awesome.
Florida, and they say, hey, we really like Seth.
Well, I'm glad they're enjoying.
They are enjoying the podcast, and most of them saw the first one.
Yeah.
And the first day they got the phone calls, hey, man, good job, and tell Seth we like Seth.
Well, I enjoy doing it. It really is a passion of mine. And as a local pastor, it just keeps me kind of involved in the community too.
Right.
And I like being out around people. I can't just sit in an office.
Right.
I can't do it.
Right.
I have to get to the church really early, because when people start coming in, I'm out. Like, I have to be where people are. I can't, I can't do it. I really enjoy coming and sitting down with Coach Abernathy. We're going to do another episode next week, and hopefully we're coming back in here talking about some upsets and
Yes,
having a great weekend.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Join us next week, Inside Humboldt Basketball with Head Coach Ronald Abernathy.